Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the July 3rd episode of the FCAAP Vidcast, your weekly source for news and updates on the world of pediatrics here in Florida. I'm John Horn, Publications and Advertising Coordinator here at FCAAP. Joining us this morning is Dr. Emmanuel Peña. He's a child abuse pediatrician at Children's Health of Atlanta. Additionally, he is Child Abuse Pediatrics Fellowship Director at Emory University and will be speaking at FPP 2023. Dr. Peña, so great to see you today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your work.
So I am a child abuse pediatrician, as you stated. So I evaluate children for suspected child maltreatment. And that's primarily my role at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. But I also serve as the fellowship director for trainees and collaborate very closely with the rest of the faculty to make sure that trainees such as medical students, residents, fellows, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, they all get some level of training into when to suspect of child maltreatment and how to use our resources optimally.
Very cool. Your presentation on September 1st, Adolescent Sexual Development in the Digital Age. What can you tell us about that?
So the first portion of that title is sexting, and then the rest of that title, adolescent sexual development in the digital age. And it's a very unique topic. I haven't come across a lot of other clinicians presenting on this topic, and I think it's one that is really important. There's an increasing amount of reliance from children onto their devices, and as you can imagine, that extends into part of exploring their sexuality. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and most of the time what parents are concerned about really constitutes more of the legal implications of sexting gone wrong, if you will. But there is a great deal of evolving literature telling us that this is truly a component of sexual development now, and that we need to be aware of it as clinicians and also as parents.
What are some of the challenges that a pediatrician runs into that they might be able to be better equipped to face after learning this information?
I think it'll make for the clinical experience or the bedside experience a lot less judgmental, or a less reactive, rather. I think whenever a parent comes to their pediatrician with a question involving sexual development or inappropriate sexual exchanges, you can imagine that there's more of a reaction to that conversation rather than a response. And I think many parents are really hoping for the latter. They're hoping to have guidance from their pediatrician, and that guidance to come from what the evidence is saying, and truly coming from a more of a medical platform, if you will. So my goal is really to be able to facilitate that, to bridge that gap that I'm noticing is happening right now. That parents really come to a pediatrician and are able to learn what is the literature saying about this, what are the things that I need to worry as a parent, what are the things that I need to worry about from a legal standpoint, and be able to get sound advice during that clinical exchange.
You and I both have a great time at conference. Everyone loves conference. But for those who have not been before, why should they come?
Oh, I mean, there's so many reasons. I've been attending for the past 5 years in some capacity. I actually went from the training stages into the actual attending stages. So every step of the way, I've had some level of involvement. And I can tell you in every single experience I've had the ability to either network or be able to look at other research projects that have truly ignited some interest on my end as to how can I expand that as it applies to my subspecialty. I've been able to reconnect with friends. I've been able to share with my family about the work that I do and the impact that I have within my own community in pediatrics. So I think it's a very comprehensive experience, and if you have not had the opportunity to enjoy that and be able to create those bonds with the rest of the state from a pediatric standpoint, I think this is a phenomenal opportunity to do so.
Dr. Emmanuel Peña, thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it, and can't wait to see you Labor Day weekend.
I'm really, really looking forward to it. Thank you.
And if you haven't registered yourself, you can find all the full details at futureofpediatrics.org. And that's going to wrap it for today's episode of the FCAAP Vidcast. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Go have a great week.